learn to improve conversions and generate more leads with the video podcast at marketingoptimization.tv. Hi, and welcome to Marketing Optimization with Alex Designs. I'm your host, Alex Harris, and today we're chatting with Alex from Problemio. How you doing, Alex?
I'm doing great. I'm very excited. I'm predicting the best episode ever.
Awesome. I love the energy. And it was fun to research you, too. I saw some of your videos. You got a great personality. I'm excited about this one. So to get started, I like to ask, what is your definition of optimization and why is it beneficial?
So in my career, optimization has been centered around SEO, right? Search engine optimization. And I started with search engine optimization, around 2005-ish, 2004-ish, and it was basically like I discovered it for like something that's dead already. And then, but I realized as soon as I installed Google Analytics, which was, one of the first things you do, it's like, oh, people are coming to my site searching for random terms, because at that time, this was actually how most people were discovering search. They're like SEO, right? They're like people were like, what is a blog? Why do people blog, right? But like as soon as people who did blog, they realized, oh my god, like we can get on Google's top 10 for whatever terms we want, start to sell products, make money, boom, 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 right? And so the people who like blogged versus the people who were like, what is a blog? Why should I learn about people brushing their teeth, right? Like, those conversations. And so I just started. I got so excited because for me, I'm also like really competitive. So I was like, there's this whole psychological thing of being in the top 10 and beating all your competitors. I was all about it. So I'm like, I started, of course, early on, I had a few kind of like gray hat sites or like black hat sites. And then,
Shame.
Kind of, sorry, internet. But it was exciting and it was fun and it was kind of an adventure. I really wasn't trying to really harm things. I was just learning, to be honest, because I didn't have mentors. I was just try this, try that, see what sticks, and I was like, oh, I'm making money with this stuff. And it was like not a lot because I was just learning this stuff. But I'm like, oh, there's some potential here. And I was like, well, how do I get to rank for bigger and bigger terms? This kind of stuff. So fast forward a few years, I owned a content farm. And for people who are not familiar with what's a content farm, it's basically I had a website which had really good SEO. The domain was very strong in authoritative in Google. And because of that, I was able to rank whatever page I put on the internet. And I automated the creation of something like 200,000 or 300,000 or 400,000 pages, many of them which ranked, and all of them had Google ads on them, right? Because the first thing you go to that page, the first thing you see is, boom, a big Google ad. And some people just click them. And, that was great, except one day Google came out with this penalty, which, just FYI, to make sure I'm not a bad player here. Prior to this Google penalty, which is called the Panda penalty, prior to this penalty, a lot of really big companies, which you think of as very legitimate companies, they were doing this strategy all over the place. This was the main strategy to get scale prior to Google releasing, and not just for me, for like a lot of big sites. So this was the main thing. And then Google released this Panda penalty, and boom, one day I woke up, I was like, let's see my search, let's see my Google Analytics, let's see if it's growing. And then it was like a cliff. It was like steep drop. It was like going up by 20% and then cliff. And then that really killed that business. And
what was the date of that?
It was just like search traffic dropped by like a huge percent. And then one of Google's suggestions to fix this was like, take out the bad pages. And then I took out the bad pages. Of course, it didn't fix this, but like I lost even more traffic because those pages were, they were maybe on page 8, but they were getting like at least, because there were so many pages, they were at least getting some.
Yeah.
So like now that site only has like maybe 100 visitors a day. I don't know why they're still coming to that site. There's nothing happening there. But it's comhike.com. It was an outdoor site, and basically all the content I had, I imported every park in the world, every tree name in the world, every bird. It turns out there's 10,000 birds, in the world. So I had a page for all of them, but it was like thin content pages because I couldn't really write a lot on this topic because I knew nothing about birds, uh, except that bird watchers are kind of anal. Like when I tried to get into their community, they were like not into what I was doing. Anyway, so fast forward that, I mean, SEO has really changed, and I coach a lot of people now how to do SEO, and across the board, people are finding it very difficult. Whereas they could have ranked um, well in prior years, right now it's a big struggle. So what I did, and I wrote a book about this, is I took my SEO learnings, because I guess once you go SEO, you never go back. I don't know. I still really think SEO, and I left Google. I still sort of look at Google as SEO, but it's only a long-term thing that I don't even care if I get any traffic from Google search, because they're right now they're more likely to penalize me than bring me significant business. So I took my learnings from SEO, and I started doing SEO on every other platforms. So I made mobile apps. Guess what? Most apps are discovered via search.
Yep.
And that search is much more simple than Google search, because all the App Store has, and by the way, same with iTunes, right? Title, description, keywords. So simple. I mean, brain dead simple, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I did that, and like at the moment of this interview, I mean, my Android app is ranked #1 for the term. If you search the term business in Android, my app is #1, and 4 of the top 10 are #1 mine. So it's kind of like I did that. And then I realized, wait, apps are not the only platforms here. Like every place which has every high volume platform where search plays a large part in discoverability, the cross of those two, I can leverage with my skills. And I did that with YouTube. I did that with, I didn't do that. I am doing that now with Amazon, with my books. I'm doing that with like Udemy. I'm doing that basically everywhere. And by the way, I'm cross promoting all of them, because that helps with the acceleration of downloads, engagement, and that's a ranking factor. So it's a way for me to build a moat. So my competitors, they don't have that extra 10% that I have, right? With that cross promotion. So I got this whole thing planned out. It's my 2014 plan. It's in motion. And but yeah, 2013 was for me to dominate the app stores. Now I'm going wide. So that's search. That's optimization.
So let's give people some practical advice of how that you're cross promoting from Amazon to iTunes to the App Store. What are some real examples of how people can push their app farther up in search? How did you place for business?
Well, actually, first I have to tell you that I don't know, because they don't tell me what exactly.
Okay.
Right? They don't tell you what exactly did it. But I'll tell you what very likely did it. And that's these. So there are engagement signals, right? How long are people staying on your app? How many times are people opening the app? Are they deleting it? Are they actually keeping it? Those signals, and one of the engagement signals is also downloads, right? So it's kind of like all these are like, they use this as quality signals to tell if your app is good or not, because they cannot tell if your app is good or not automatically, right? Just like on the web, you have this, Google's talking a lot about bounce rates as a way to measure if the page is quality. And I don't know really how they use that in their search, determining the search results. But same thing, bounce rate for an app. Like, are people just getting it and deleting it, or are people getting it and using it? And are they opening it a lot? And what's the session length, right? So I did that. I mean, first of all, it's on listing SEO. You have to have a keyword-rich title description, but it's a no-brainer. Anybody can do that. And maybe small developers don't do that because they're not aware, but certainly every established company will do that. So when it gets to the top people you're competing with, they're all doing the same things. The trick is to then go for the engagement signals, because the engagement signals propel you. And engagement signals, by the way, it's all over social media. YouTube, same thing. Engagement. How long are people watching? Blah blah blah. Probably, Google search has a lot of engagement signals, like how long are people staying on the site. So these search metrics, they're across the board. There's nothing new that I brought to the App Store, really.
Yeah. So let me go through some detail on that. What I heard is the social signals. Not only using the app and getting engagement and allow people to continuously get updates. That's engagement. But also getting reviews on your app is very important. Getting the actual 5-star reviews is very important. It shows that people are actually using it and downloading it. And then also within the App Store or iTunes or your phone, pushing the share button, sharing it through Twitter, Facebook, email. All of those aspects are part of that engagement.
Actually, I don't know if they are able to measure if you pressed from inside the app. I don't know if they're able to measure if you shared it on Twitter. But I'll tell you, I find a nuance. And for people who are marketing apps, this is very important. Sharing on Twitter, Facebook, social networks, what it is really good for is actually the SEO of the app URL. Not your website, not your app, but the app URL in Google search. Because guess what? A lot of the downloads will come from actual Google search. And as app developers, we don't know. Yeah. The only way I know is people tell me, like people literally tell me, because I have some features in the app which allow me to talk to people. And they literally tell me, like, I found your app not in the App Store, but in Google search. And I was like, oh, I didn't expect that. But over time, I realized it. So I did a lot of SEO for the actual URLs of the apps. And those are very authoritative. They're on very authoritative domains, right? iTunes or Google Play. Far more authoritative than my website, Problemio.com. Like, who knows, what is Problemio.com, right? It's like a random site. But iTunes, like, those URLs will rank. And so if you search for something like business plan iOS app, my app is always in the top 3 Google search results. The iTunes URL. And if you search for Android business app, something like that, whatever, my app or business plan app, my app is in those. And really, I did that with a lot of social media and blogging. Just link. But
yeah. It's interesting because what I've heard from creating a podcast or an app, the first word of the name of the app is the most important. In your case, you're using business. In my case, I'm using marketing optimization. So having the first word as the main keyword that you're marketing to is actually some of the best case scenarios.
I haven't, experimented directly with word order, but certainly the keywords in your title are the highest. They're the most important in getting that thing to rank.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So we talked about SEO for apps, and but let's talk about now driving traffic to your site. Maybe you have a website like Problemio, and you want to get people to download your app. How do you drive traffic? How do you use social media? And then how do you optimize that traffic to convert it?
Okay, so I got this interesting approach, which I kind of alluded to earlier, where, I actually have this kind of, even before anything happens, right, you have to build trust. So let's say, like one of my platforms of choice was YouTube, or is YouTube. And I mean, I have no background in video. It took me a while to even get to be mediocre. So, but I realized that if I give great value in the video and people build trust, and I build trust with people, I build rapport, and I'm not just some talking head on the web. I'm like actually genuine. I'm like nice. I'm smiling, and stuff like that. I'm a little bit entertaining. At least I try. And people, they're like, okay, this guy, I'm learning from this guy.
You have a great name.
Huh?
You have a great name.
Problemio or the
Alex?
That's right. I can't believe we haven't mentioned this yet. There's both Alexes here. But right. So who's this Alex guy, right? But the whole idea in my YouTube video is like I build rapport, I build trust. If I don't build trust in my YouTube video, forget it. Because if I say, "Oh, guys, buy my stuff," because really that's the whole thing. It's like it's all like a big commercial, right? Yeah. Everything on the web, you're like it's all a sales funnel, but it's a sales funnel where at some point you have to provide value, build trust, and I always provide value. Like I always try. This is my own theme in my head. Provide value, build trust, and then not only traffic will come, right? Then I can say, hey, go to my site, click my link, but they'll also like the stuff, they'll share with their friends, all the goodness will come out of it. But of course, you have to be savvy about these people who you have to build trust with. They have to discover you first. And that's why I love this. I love the intersection of search-based discovery because they have to find you first, and high volume platforms because they have to find you first in high volume, right? Then you figure out how to engage them by building trust, offering value, and then sell. For me, that's been the pattern that's worked. Whenever one of the components is missing, then the results are mediocre.
So, great points there, and I totally agree with every aspect. Me and my business, creating a podcast, video. If you want to check it out on marketingoptimization.tv or my YouTube channel, connecting with people because they don't know who essentially people are behind their blogs or their apps. If you can do video, get in the face of your potential, customers or audience, build a rapport, then you're more likely to have a connection and understand what type of value you can provide for them, and then allow them to tell you how to, pivot your app.
Yeah, and one thing that I kind of mentioned is one of the ways I look at it is like if you take a look at what is one of the best things about offline marketing, because I know we're all about online marketing, but if there was one thing about offline marketing, like for me, it is that face-to-face connection, right? And of course, YouTube is the way, but of course that it doesn't scale offline, right? So you take that best thing about the offline traditional marketing that's been around, right? And then you use it on YouTube because it's like a way to build face-to-face connection, and you do it at scale. And YouTube is the best, and podcasting is second best because you can get to know people. Everything else is like clicking links, reading, and nobody reads. And so it's like everything else is so much less personal. You build so much less trust. So that everywhere I can put a video, now I put a video. And I think actually maybe you can comment on this. I mean, I try to like really increase conversion with all my stuff. Like, so whenever I'm selling anything, I put video. I don't know if maybe that's not quite the traditional landing page design, but
yeah, well, if the video makes sense and it kind of solves the problem that what people are looking for when they get there, it definitely makes sense. As you figure out your sites and your target audiences and your avatars, all the different places that you express yourself through YouTube or your blog, you have to, optimize it in general. So, on landing pages, sometimes a video is going to work, and sometimes a video is going to work if it works as a popover, or sometimes it works as an overlay. Sometimes it works embedded in the page. So you have to really tweak and experiment to figure that stuff out. But there's never really a best case scenario for when it works or when it doesn't. But usually always want to have some type of video to build your trust.
Yeah.
So we spoke about driving the traffic to your site and getting it there. So once it actually arrives at your site, do you have a way to increase the engagement? Get more people to share it, get more people to download your app. Do you have any recommendations for actually on-site stuff or even on-site SEO?
Well, yes, I do. But I think for on-site conversion, I mean you are the authority. So I mean I'll offer only my little bit of insight. But so one feature actually, inside apps is a little different than on the web, because inside apps you can make the apps so that some features are better if your friends are using it. So in my case, I mean business apps is not that social. Right, so it's kind of like, well, it's not that social. So what I did is, you can so on the apps you can write a little business plan, typing with your thumb, right? And of course people get stuck, and sometimes people have business partners. So there's a feature like, hey, you can actually create this, you can write this business plan with your business partners. So you can invite your business partner, you get a little code, it gets sent to the business partner, then that business partner has they can edit, they can get into the business plan, and you guys can discuss things and edit the business plan together.
Mm-hmm.
So that has worked. It gave me something like, depending on the app, it only gave me something like 2 to 4 to 5% extra downloads,
Okay.
which is nice. But because I try to funnel them to the paid apps, but so it's extra revenue. But I didn't have this incredible viral thing that could happen. My app is just not designed. That the use of my app is just not that social. I mean, but games like Words with Friends, like, oh my God, one person can invite like 100 friends,
Yeah.
and those 100 friends can invite 100 friends. I mean, I love those types of uses. When one friend can when one person can bring in multiple friends,
Yep.
those are amazing, um, because it makes things so much easier for you.
Yeah.
Um,
What would be one thing that you would tell the audience on to do to really help them take their website traffic or their business to the next level?
okay, so when things really started growing for me was after I built one feature. One feature really built my entire business, and that feature was to add a Q&A into my apps. It's one of the very early, like my apps. Originally, they were terrible. They had like no logo, right? Because I made an Android app at first, and it had no logo, nothing. Like, it was a really bad app. But it had this feature which you can ask me questions. I mean, for better or worse, you know. So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people were like asking me questions, and now I've helped over 1,000 people this way. Before it was free, now it's obviously paid because it's too much volume. But what happened was I was getting to, like, people were getting value, but what really happened is I understood exactly what my users needed. And my users are, first time entrepreneurs, people who are looking to start a business. And guess what? Not only was I able to, every feature of the app that followed, like, it actually was made precisely because I was getting a lot of requests for it. And right now people say, well, your app, I'm just one guy, right? So I'm not a designer. Like, they're not beautifully designed. They're not this, they're not that, they're not social. But you know what? It's one of the highest rated apps. And why? Because I made it for precisely that avatar,
Yeah.
right? Those guys, it's gold, because there was no guessing. There was no word or nothing in that app that's guessing. That it's all stuff they told me they needed, right?
Right.
And not only that, I was able to grow that, and of course, I was able to get a lot of natural reviews, which actually helped me rank in the app store, things like that. But what really happened is I got to have one of the deepest understandings of the first-time entrepreneur, and to be honest, I had a lot of misconceptions about it when I started. But really now I took that knowledge, right? Because at first it was just apps, but then I wrote books. Then now I'm doing like Udemy courses, right? Then I'm doing a whole bunch of other coaching. Then I'm doing like, so basically, but it's the same person, just on
Yeah.
different platforms on YouTube, right? So it's like, so actually gave really growth to everything else, and that feature was really, it helped me to understand my target consumer
Yeah.
deeply, like really deeply, not just really not kind of, but like deeply.
Well, you just exposed the secret to increasing conversions is find out what people want.
Right, exactly, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're gathering qualitative data to understand exactly what is inside their head, so you don't have those misconceptions, and you don't make guesses on what people want. And people work in silos, and they just build whatever features they want instead of talking to their customers, understand their problems, and iterating based on that qualitative data. I love it. So let's tell people about Problemio. What do you guys do? And let's learn more about the site.
Yeah, well, Problemio is fantastic. No, so actually, I named it, Problemio, because of this traditional business school question of what problem is your business solving. I think nobody has quite gotten that without me explaining it. So that's Problemio. What problem is your business solving? It kind of tackles the business fundamentals, right? So on Problemio, it's really, you can find my apps, my books, my online courses, my coaching, right? It's all really my YouTube channel. It's all really things, resources, and many of them are free. Although I do like when people get the paid stuff. Uh, I mean,
You have bills to
but
pay?
huh?
You have
Right,
bills.
right. I'm doing it for charity. No, I actually like to do it. I love like helping the 1,000 people or plus that I've helped. I love it because some of them I kept in touch with, and it's been fascinating to see them grow their business, and now they have like real businesses, and I'm like, wow, okay. So, and it actually made friendships with some of those people, but on Problemio, it's a bunch of resources like in different platforms, right? Some people like to consume video, I have video. Some people want online course, I got online course. If you want mobile app on the go, I have apps, and it's all on 4 topics. Really, I cover 4 main topics that really come from the entrepreneurs who ask me the questions, which is business ideas, business planning, how to raise money, and how to market your business once you start.
Awesome. It's really you're really covering all the aspects of it and moving it into apps too. It's really impressive.
Thank you. The only thing I don't cover is legal.
Well, I don't think you wanted to cover legal.
But people ask, but I can't help.
Right. So let's close by telling people how they can find out more about you and share your Twitter as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm on Problemio.com. I have a blog on glowingstart.com. It's kind of new. I don't think it's that exciting, but go there anyway. And of course, if you can remember my last name, which is Brutal, you can visit. That's my Twitter handle. And if you like this episode, I would actually, it would be fun to hear from you on Twitter. You can tell me about how my jokes were not so funny. And yeah, so I'm on Twitter. I think my YouTube URL is also weird, but like if you go on Problemio, you can go to my YouTube. On YouTube, I actually have like 300 tutorials. They're all free, obviously, because it's YouTube, and on all kinds of business things. And it all comes from questions by other entrepreneurs. So if somebody is wondering like how to promote that, how to promote this, how to start this, I probably already have a video on it on YouTube. So,
wow. I'll definitely check those out as well. Thanks a lot for your time, Alex.
Thank you. It was really fun. It was really fun.
Thank you for watching the Marketing Optimization Podcast with Alex Designs. Please remember to subscribe to all of the videos in my YouTube channel. Thank you.